Can I still build muscle after 40 with creatine, or will I make a huge mistake? I'm going to answer that in a second, but first, I need to confess something. For years, I told patients creatine was basically a young guy's supplement. Bodybuilders, college athletes, 20-somethings who still bounce out of bed without making a noise. I was wrong. And the mistake I made is the exact same mistake most people over 40 are still making right now. Either they're avoiding creatine entirely because they think it's not for them, or they're taking it like it's still 2005 and nobody's told them the rules have changed. But I'm JD, pharmacist, 30 plus years in healthcare, judo black belt, BJJ brown belt, and currently getting humbled on the jiu-jitsu mats on a weekly basis by people half my age. The creatine is one of the most studied supplements that exist. And there's decades of research behind it. But most of that research was built on young, healthy athletes. So what happens when you're over 40? Does it still work the same way? Is it even safe? Well, stick with me, because the answer might change how you think about this little white powder sitting in your kitchen cabinet right now. And here's the mistake. Plain and simple. After 40, your body starts losing muscle mass, a process called sarcopenia, and at a rate of roughly 3 to 8% per decade if you're not actively fighting it. Your bone density starts declining too, especially for women heading into and through menopause. And on top of all of that, your kidney function and your medication lists both start getting more complicated. So when someone over 40 either skips creatine because that's a young person's thing, or takes the exact same approach a 22-year-old would without adjusting for any of this, that's the mistake, not the supplement itself, the blind approach to it. Let's talk about why this actually matters more after 40, not less. Creatine helps your muscles produce ATP, that's cellular energy, even faster, which means more strength, better performance, and critically better preservation of the muscle you already have. That muscle preservation piece is huge for staying mobile, staying independent, and not becoming one of those statistics about falls after 60. Creatine also pulls water into your muscle cells, which research has connected to satellite cell activation. Basically, your body's repair and rebuilding crew getting called into action more efficiently. There's even research suggesting a benefit for bone density when creatine is paired with resistance training, which is exactly the combination most people over 40 need and aren't doing. The dosing, by the way, doesn't change much with age. 3 to 5 grams a day, every day, consistently. You don't need a loading phase. You don't need to cycle off of it. You just need to actually take it. Now, let me pause here for just a second, because there's something I want to tell you about. Not a hard sell, genuinely, just a heads up. And honestly, even if you don't want to help me out, just get some of the chalky stuff as long as you're getting some creatine down. But at NuLifeSpan, we put together a creatine forward formula because I kept running into the same problem with patients and viewers. People wanted the benefits we're talking about, but they didn't want to choke down chalky powder mixed with 6 other random supplements they had to track separately. So NuCreatine pairs a proper 5-gram dose of creatine monohydrate with a small group of ingredients chosen to support energy and focus alongside it. Nothing thrown in it just to pad the label. It's almost available, or possibly available depending on when you're watching this. And head over to NuCreatine.com to get on the free sample list while supplies last, or just check it out. And I'll leave that link down in the description below as well. And to be transparent, these statements, of course, haven't been evaluated by the good old FDA, but every ingredient in that formula has peer-reviewed research behind it, because that's the only standard we work with. Okay, back to the science, because the brain part of this story is the part almost nobody talks about, and it might honestly be more important than the muscle part for a lot of you watching. Your brain runs on the same energy currency your muscles do, same fuel system, same emergency battery called phosphocreatine, and your brain is hungry. It burns through roughly 20% of your daily calories just keeping itself running, thinking and remembering, regulating your mood. And when demand spikes, bad night of sleep, stressful week, too many decisions before lunch, your brain pulls from that battery faster than it can recharge. And that's the fog you feel at 2 in the afternoon. That's losing a word mid-sentence you said 1,000 times before. Not a crisis, just a brain running low on fuel. And here's where the research gets genuinely interesting. A 2024 study published in Scientific Reports put people through 21 hours of sleep deprivation and used phosphorus MRS, actual brain imaging, to watch what happened. And a single high dose of creatine monohydrate improved cognitive performance and changed the brain's high energy phosphate levels during that sleep deprivation. That's not a marketing claim. That's a brain getting scanned in real time, showing creatine actively buffering the fatigue. And when it comes to memory specifically, there's a meaningful and honestly kind of a fascinating research story. The 2022 meta-analysis out of the University of Liverpool, led by Prokopidis and colleagues, looked specifically at older adults and found that creatine supplementation improved memory performance in adults aged 66 to 76, while no real difference showed up in younger adults. Meanwhile, a separate, more recent review by Shu and colleagues found something almost the opposite. Creatine significantly improved memory, attention, and processing speed overall. But their subgroup analysis suggested the benefit was actually strongest in adults 18 to 60, not in the over 60 crowd. Now, I'm not going to pretend that tension doesn't exist, because that's not how I do things on this channel. Researchers themselves point out that these contradictory findings may come down to differences in which studies got included in each review and the fact that there just aren't many trials involving older adults yet. So here's my honest read. The signal for brain benefit in people over 40 and beyond is absolutely real, and it's promising, and it's still being sorted out at the edges. And that's exactly where good science should be, not oversold, not dismissed. Now, let's get back to the part of the mistake we haven't covered yet, the part that actually worries me as a pharmacist. If you're over 40 and you're on any medication, especially anything that affects your kidneys, or if you have any pre-existing kidney condition, this is not a figure it out yourself supplement decision. Creatine itself and healthy kidneys has an outstanding safety record. Decades of research back that up. But healthy kidneys is the key phrase. If you've got chronic kidney disease, if you're on certain blood pressure medications, if you're taking NSAIDs regularly, or honestly, if you just haven't had blood work done in a few years, talk to your doctor or your pharmacist before you start. Not because creatine is dangerous, because at our age, the supplement is rarely the variable that needs a second look. The 30 other things going on in our bodies are. This is the actual mistake nobody talks about. It's not the powder. It's skipping the conversation with someone who knows your full picture before you start something, even something as well studied as this. So here's where that leaves you. Creatine after 40 isn't something to avoid, and it's not something to take blindly either. 3 to 5 grams a day, consistently, no loading phase required. Real benefits for muscle retention, possibly for bone density when paired with resistance training, and a genuinely exciting, if still developing, body of research on memory and brain energy that gets more relevant every year you're on this planet. Just have the conversation with your doctor first if you've got any kidney concerns or you're on regular medication, and then go be consistent with it. Drop a comment and let me know. Were you taking creatine for the muscle benefits, the brain benefits, or did you not even know the brain side of this was a thing until today? And I read every single one, and your comments genuinely shape what I cover next. Hit subscribe if you want straight talk health content built for people over 40 who are done guessing. And if you know somebody still treating creatine like it's a college dorm room supplement, send them this video. And this is JD from NuLifeSpan. Same compound, smarter conversation, and I'll see you in the next one.